So, what's up everyone, Sahara here. It's 2025, and if you've been paying any attention at all, you know the tech industry isn't just growing anymore, it's exploding. It feels like every week there's a new breakthrough, a new piece of hardware, or a new AI model that changes the game all over again. This constant evolution is creating a massive demand for skilled professionals who can build, manage, and secure the future. Tech careers are booming in 2025. Which jobs pay the most? Let's count down the top 10 highest paying tech jobs this year. Now, we're not just talking about good salaries here. We're talking about roles that are genuinely shaping the way we live, work, and interact. These are the jobs at the forefront of innovation, the ones that come with massive responsibility, but also massive rewards. I've been digging into the data, looking at industry trends, and talking to people on the inside to figure out where the real money and influence are. It's a pretty interesting landscape with some familiar roles evolving and some newer specializations shooting right to the top. So, whether you're a student trying to figure out your major, a professional considering a career pivot, or just curious about where the tech world is heading, this video is for you. We're going to break down each role, talk about the kind of money you can expect to make, what the day-to-day actually looks like, and which industries are desperate for these experts. Stick around because we're starting at number 10 and working our way up to the absolute pinnacle of tech compensation. Let's get into it. Alright, kicking off our list at number 10 is the cloud engineer. Now this might be number 10, but don't get it twisted, the compensation is still seriously impressive. We're looking at an average salary range that comfortably sits between $120,000 and $185,000 a year. And that's just the base. With experience and specialization in a platform like AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud, you can see those numbers climb even higher. It's a foundational role in modern tech, and the pay definitely reflects that importance. So what does a cloud engineer actually do? Think of them as the architects and maintainers of the internet's backbone. Almost every app you use, every website you visit, every service you stream, it all lives on the cloud. These engineers are the ones designing, planning, managing, and supporting that cloud infrastructure. They handle everything from migrating a company's old physical servers to a cloud platform, to setting up virtual networks and ensuring there's enough computing power to handle a massive spike in users. It's a technical, hands-on job that requires a deep understanding of how these complex systems fit together. The role is less about writing application code and more about building the robust, scalable, and secure environment for that code to run in. They use tools for infrastructure as code to automate the creation of servers and networks, which is super powerful. They are also on the front lines of security and disaster recovery. If a service goes down, they're often the ones working to bring it back online, making sure data isn't lost, and the user experience is restored as quickly as possible. It's a high-stakes, high-pressure environment at times. As for who's hiring, the answer is pretty simple: everyone. From small startups that need to scale quickly without buying physical hardware, to massive enterprise companies in finance, healthcare, and retail that are moving their entire operations to the cloud. If a company uses technology in any meaningful way, they either have or need cloud engineers. The demand is universal and it's not slowing down, making this a solid and lucrative entry to our list. Coming in at number 9, we have a role that's been surrounded by hype for years, but is now maturing into a seriously high-paying career: the blockchain developer. The crypto winter may have cooled some of the speculation, but the underlying technology is stronger and more integrated than ever. For a skilled blockchain developer, the average salary is landing somewhere between $125,000 and $190,000. For specialists with experience in specific protocols or smart contract security, that figure can easily push past the $200,000 mark. So what's the job all about? At its core, a blockchain developer builds applications on top of blockchain technology. This isn't just about cryptocurrencies anymore. They are the ones creating decentralized applications, or dApps, that can handle everything from secure voting systems to supply chain tracking. They develop and maintain the architecture of the blockchain system itself, and they're responsible for creating and auditing smart contracts, the self-executing contracts with the terms of the agreement directly written into code. It's a super specialized form of software development. There are essentially two types of blockchain developers. You have core blockchain developers, who work on designing the actual consensus protocols and security of the blockchain architecture itself. This is deep, complex computer science. Then you have blockchain software developers who use the core web and blockchain platforms to build the dApps and smart contracts that users interact with. Both require a strong grasp of programming languages like Solidity, Rust, or Go, as well as a deep understanding of cryptography and data structures. The industry's hiring for these roles are expanding well beyond the initial crypto finance bubble. Of course, fintech is still the biggest employer, with companies building decentralized finance or DeFi platforms and payment systems, but we're also seeing huge demand in logistics and supply chain management, healthcare for secure patient records, and even in the creative industries for things like NFTs and digital rights management. It's a field that demands continuous learning, but for those who master it, the rewards are substantial. Alright, at number 8, we have a role that becomes more critical with every passing day, the cybersecurity specialist. In a world where data breaches are a weekly headline, companies are willing to pay a premium for protection. The average salary for a cybersecurity specialist ranges from $130,000 to $200,000. For those who move into more specialized roles like penetration testing or security architecture, those numbers can go significantly higher. This is one of those jobs where the better you are, the more indispensable you become. A cybersecurity specialist is essentially a digital bodyguard for a company's data and systems. Their mission is to protect computer networks, servers, and sensitive information from being attacked, damaged, or accessed by unauthorized users. This is a broad field with a ton of specializations. Some specialists, known as white hat hackers or penetration testers, spend their days trying to break into their own company's systems to find vulnerabilities before the bad guys do. It's a constant cat and mouse game. Others focus on security architecture, designing networks from the ground up to be as secure as possible. They implement firewalls, encryption protocols, and access control systems. There are also incident responders, who are the digital first responders when a breach does happen. They work to contain the threat, figure out how the attackers got in, and get the systems back online securely. It requires a mindset that's part detective, part engineer, and part strategist. You're always thinking about potential threats and how to mitigate them. As for who's hiring, again, pretty much every company on the planet. Any organization that stores customer data, financial records, or proprietary intellectual property needs a robust cybersecurity team. This includes the obvious ones like banks, government agencies, and tech companies. But it also includes healthcare providers protecting patient records, e-commerce stores protecting credit card information, and even manufacturing companies protecting their factory automation systems. In 2025, cybersecurity isn't an IT expense. It's a fundamental cost of doing business. Sliding into the number 7 spot is the data scientist. This role has been one of the hottest jobs in tech for the better part of a decade, and in 2025, that hasn't changed. The demand for people who can turn raw, messy data into actionable business insights is, honestly, insatiable. A data scientist can expect to make an average salary between $135,000 and $210,000. With a PhD or specialized experience in a high-impact area, like machine learning model deployment, that compensation can be even more impressive. So, what does a data scientist actually do? Well, they're part mathematician, part computer scientist, and part business strategist. They start with massive data sets. Think everything from customer purchase history and website clicks to sensor data from a smart device. Their job is to clean that data, analyze it using statistical methods, and then build predictive models to answer complex business questions. They might be building a recommendation engine for an e-commerce site, or a model to predict which customers are likely to churn. The day-to-day work involves a lot of programming, usually in languages like Python or R, and using libraries specifically designed for data manipulation and machine learning. And honestly, they spend a surprising amount of time just cleaning and preparing data to make it usable. But the real magic happens when they uncover a pattern or an insight that no one else saw. An insight that can lead to a new product, a more efficient process, or even a multi-million-dollar marketing campaign. It's a role that can have a direct and measurable impact on the bottom line. Data scientists are being hired across virtually every industry. Tech companies like Netflix and Spotify are famous for their data-driven recommendation systems. Finance and insurance companies use them to detect fraud and assess risk. Healthcare organizations use them to predict disease outbreaks and personalize patient treatments. Retailers use them to optimize inventory and pricing. Basically, if a company collects data, and let's be real, they all do, they need a data scientist to help them make sense of it. At number 6 on our list, we have the DevOps engineer. This is a role that has become absolutely central to how modern software is built and delivered. DevOps is all about bridging the gap between software development, dev, and IT operations, ops, and the people who can do that effectively are highly valued. The average salary for a DevOps engineer falls in the range of $140,000 to $215,000. Senior and lead roles, especially in large tech hubs, can command even more. The core mission of a DevOps engineer is to increase an organization's speed and efficiency in delivering software applications and services. In the old days, developers would write code and then throw it over the wall to the operations team to deploy and manage. This was slow and led to a lot of friction. DevOps engineers automate this entire pipeline. They build and maintain systems for continuous integration and continuous deployment, or CI/CD, which means that as soon as a developer writes new code, it's automatically tested, packaged, and deployed to users. This involves a unique blend of skills. A DevOps engineer needs to be comfortable with coding and scripting just like a developer, but they also need a deep understanding of systems administration, networking, and cloud infrastructure, like an operations professional. They're masters of automation tools like Jenkins, GitLab CI, Docker, and Kubernetes. Their goal is to create a smooth, automated, and reliable path from a developer's laptop to a production environment that serves millions of users. It's about building the factory that builds the software. The demand for DevOps engineers is sky high, particularly in any company that develops its own software. This obviously includes the entire tech industry, from startups to giants like Apple and Microsoft. But it also includes banks developing their own mobile banking apps, car companies writing software for their vehicles, and media companies building streaming platforms. Any organization that wants to release new features and updates quickly and reliably needs a strong DevOps culture, and that starts with hiring skilled DevOps engineers. Cracking our top 5, we have the AI and machine learning engineer. If data scientists find the insights in data, ML engineers are the ones who actually build the products powered by those insights. With the explosion of generative AI and large language models, this field is, honestly, white hot. An AI or ML engineer can expect an average salary between $150,000 and $225,000. However, specialists with experience building and deploying large-scale models are some of the most sought-after and compensated people in the entire industry, with offers easily topping $300,000 or more. So, what's the job? An AI or machine learning engineer is a specialized software engineer who designs and builds intelligent systems. They take the theoretical models developed by data scientists or researchers and figure out how to make them work in the real world at scale. This involves a ton of programming, usually in Python, and using deep learning frameworks like TensorFlow or PyTorch. They're the ones who build the AI that powers your phone's camera, the language model behind a chatbot, or the algorithm that recommends your next video. Their work is this challenging mix of software engineering, best practices, and applied research. They need to understand the underlying math of the models, but they also need to be experts at writing efficient, scalable, and production-ready code. A huge part of their job is MLOps, or machine learning operations. This involves building the infrastructure to train these massive models, which can take days or even weeks on powerful GPUs, and then deploying them so they can serve millions of users with low latency. It's a highly complex engineering challenge. The industry's hiring ML engineers are the ones at the bleeding edge of technology. Big tech companies like Google, Meta, and Nvidia are in a full-blown arms race for AI talent, but the demand is spreading rapidly. The automotive industry is hiring them to build self-driving car systems. The healthcare industry needs them to build diagnostic tools that can read medical scans. E-commerce, finance, entertainment, any industry that can leverage predictive power or automation is building out an AI team, and the ML engineer is at the heart of it. Coming in at number 4 is a role that's, less about hands-on coding and more about leadership and strategy, the IT project manager. As tech projects become more complex and involve larger teams, the need for someone who can steer the ship and make sure everything gets done on time and on budget is absolutely paramount. A skilled IT project manager commands an average salary between $155,000 and $230,000. And for those managing massive multi-year digital transformation projects at large enterprises, the compensation can be even higher. So what does an IT project manager actually do? Well, they are the ultimate organizers, planners, and communicators for a technology initiative. They don't necessarily write the code or configure the servers, but they're responsible for the entire project lifecycle, from initial planning and scope definition all the way to execution, monitoring, and final delivery. They define project goals, create timelines, manage budgets, and allocate resources. A huge part of their job is managing people and expectations. They act as the central point of contact between the technical team, developers, engineers, designers, and the business stakeholders, like executives, marketing, and sales. They really have to be able to speak both languages, translating complex technical challenges into clear business impacts, and translating business requirements into actionable tasks for the engineering team. They use methodologies like Agile and Scrum to manage workflows, run daily stand-up meetings, and clear any roadblocks that are preventing the team from making progress. It's a role that honestly requires incredible organizational and interpersonal skills. IT project managers are needed in any organization undertaking a significant technology project. This is especially true in large non-tech companies that are undergoing digital transformation. Think of a major bank updating its entire core banking system, a retail chain launching a new e-commerce platform, or a hospital implementing a new electronic health record system. These are massive, complex projects that would just, fail without strong project management. Tech companies also hire them, of course, often under titles like Technical Program Manager, to coordinate work across multiple engineering teams. Breaking into our top 3, we have the Solutions Architect. This is a senior role that blends deep technical expertise with a high-level strategic view of business and technology. They are the master planners who design the blueprints for a company's entire technical ecosystem. As you'd expect, this level of responsibility comes with significant compensation, with the average salary for a solutions architect ranging from $160,000 to $250,000, and often much more with specialized experience. So, what does a solutions architect do? Imagine a company wants to build a new global e-commerce platform. The solutions architect is the one who designs the entire system from a high level. They decide which cloud platform to use, which databases will work best, how different services will communicate with each other, and how the system will scale to handle millions of users. They create the overall technical vision and the blueprint that all the individual engineering teams will then build from. They are literally the architects of the solution. This role requires a massive breadth of knowledge. A solutions architect needs to be fluent in cloud computing, networking, security, data storage, application development, and more. But just as importantly, they need to be able to understand the business's goals and constraints. They don't just choose the most powerful technology, they choose the right technology that solves the business problem in a way that is cost-effective, secure, and reliable. They spend a lot of time in meetings, drawing diagrams on whiteboards, and writing detailed design documents. Solutions. Architects are primarily hired by large enterprise companies and major tech firms. Cloud providers like AWS, Microsoft, and Google hire them to work with their biggest customers, helping them design solutions using their platforms. Large corporations in finance, telecommunications, and logistics hire them to lead their internal digital transformation efforts. It's not typically an entry-level role. Most solutions architects have years of experience as a software developer, cloud engineer, or systems administrator before moving into this strategic position. Our runner-up, at number 2 on the list, is the Software Engineering Manager. This role represents the first major step on the management track for a software engineer, and it comes with a significant jump in both responsibility and pay. The average salary for a software engineering manager is in the neighborhood of $175,000 to $275,000. At major tech companies in high cost of living areas, total compensation including stock options can easily push this into the $300,000 to $400,000 range and beyond. So, what does a software engineering manager do? Their primary responsibility shifts from writing code to building and leading a high-performing team of engineers. While they need to maintain their technical credibility to guide architectural decisions and mentor their team, their day-to-day is focused on people management. This includes hiring and recruiting new talent, conducting one-on-one meetings, providing performance feedback and career guidance, and fostering a healthy and productive team culture. They are also responsible for the team's execution and delivery. They work with product managers to plan roadmaps, break down large projects into manageable tasks, and ensure the team is hitting its deadlines with high-quality work. They are the ones who shield the team from distractions, resolve conflicts, and make sure everyone has what they need to be successful. It's a transition from being a maker to being a multiplier, where your success is measured by the success of your team. Software engineering managers are a staple at any company that has a software development team of more than a handful of people. From fast-growing startups that need to scale their engineering organization to the tech giants who have thousands of engineers organized into teams, this role is essential. The path to this role is almost always through being a successful senior or lead software engineer first. It requires a rare combination of technical acumen, empathy, and leadership skills. And here we are at the number 1 spot. The highest paying tech job in 2025 is a leadership role at the absolute peak of the organizational chart, the Chief Technology Officer, or in many cases now, a role with a similar scope like an AI Director or VP of AI. This is the executive responsible for a company's entire technology strategy. The compensation here is on another level, with average salaries starting around $200,000 and going well past $350,000, but the real money comes from equity and bonuses, often pushing total compensation into the high 6 or even 7 figures. So, what does a CTO or AI director do? They are a member of the C-suite, working alongside the CEO, CFO, and other executives to set the overall direction of the company. Their job is to understand where the business is going and ensure that the technology strategy aligns with and enables those goals. They make the big picture decisions. Should we build this technology in-house or buy it? Should we invest heavily in AI? How do we build a technology organization that can innovate and outperform the competition? Their day is filled with high-level strategic meetings, budget planning, and managing the senior technology leadership, like the VPs of engineering and infrastructure. They are the public face of the company's technology, often speaking at conferences or to the press. In the case of an AI director, they have a laser focus on building a world-class AI team and integrating artificial intelligence across every part of the business, which is seen as the single biggest competitive advantage in 2025. It's a role that requires visionary thinking, deep technical understanding, and exceptional business acumen. These roles exist at the top of established tech companies and increasingly at large traditional enterprises that are betting their future on technology. Startups also have CTOs who are often more hands-on initially. The path here is long, typically requiring a journey through roles like software engineer, engineering manager, and director or VP of engineering. It's the ultimate destination for a career in tech leadership, where you have the power to shape the future of an entire organization. So there you have it, the top 10 highest-paying tech jobs for 2025. From the foundational work of cloud and DevOps engineers to the strategic leadership of a CTO, it's clear that the opportunities in tech are not just abundant, they're also incredibly rewarding. What I find most interesting is the mix of roles on this list. It's not just about being the best coder, it's also about being a great communicator, a strategic planner, a security expert, or a leader who can build and inspire a team. There are so many different paths to success. The common thread through all of these roles is the relentless pace of change and the need for continuous learning. The tools and technologies that are dominant today might be legacy tomorrow. So the most important skill isn't just mastering one specific thing, but building the ability to learn and adapt. That's what really future-proofs your career. Whether you're just starting out or looking to make a change, I hope this list gives you a clearer picture of the landscape and maybe some inspiration for your next move. The demand for these skills is only going to increase, and the companies building the future are actively looking for talent right now. It's a pretty exciting time to be in this field. The future belongs to tech. Which of these jobs would you choose? Is there a role you think should have been on this list? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. It's been Sahara, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.